What's up, y'all? You're now watching Tuned In at 12:01. I'm your host, JQ, and today I am in my political bag. I suggest you get in yours too. We have a special guest, like always. Today we have mayoral candidate Paul Young. Let's clap. That was a good clap, y'all. I'm proud of y'all. Okay, so I'm basically going to let you introduce yourself, give us a little background information, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm a born and raised Memphian, grew up in the Oak Haven area, graduated from East High School, college in Knoxville at University of Tennessee, brother Kappa Alpha Psi. Been working for the past 20 years in community development, working to rebuild neighborhoods throughout the city. Currently the president of Downtown Memphis Commission, used to be the director of housing, so I've worked in every neighborhood in the city. And I'm running for mayor because I believe that I represent this next generation of leadership that our city is desperately calling for. And, you know, we have tough challenges, but we also have great people. And, you know, I'm in this race to make sure that we elevate. We've been the city with potential for far too long. It's time for us to realize that potential.
I definitely agree. And like I told you maybe when I saw you at your meet and greet in Westwood, my friend Renee works on your campaign, and I'm always moved by the people that she works for. So I've been seeing you so much. I've been seeing your signs everywhere. And of course I didn't want to be the person to just go with what my friend said. So I said, let's go check out what he's really talking about and what his plan is for our community. And me and my friend George left so motivated. It was like, it just gave me that feeling of Memphis, that grit, like that hustle, that you know, we can be who people think we are. We just have to put some work behind it. And you made me feel like you could implement that.
No, I'm glad. I was honored to have you guys there, and obviously Renee's an important component to the team, Tiffany, who works with her. We have the next generation of Memphis that's powering the campaign. We have so many people that have joined in support, and you know, there's a lot of energy, and I think it's something special, and I feel like it's something that Memphis needs right now, because man, times have been heavy. You know, it's every time we turn around, we're in the news for the wrong things, and so we need some bright spots, some things to look forward to. And this campaign represents that.
Yeah, I feel like this campaign is a bright spot. And like you said, there are some bad, but there's a lot of good here in Memphis too. And so I want to touch on your key mayor priorities. You want me to say them or you want to say them?
I want to hear you say them.
Okay, so there are 5 of them, and it's public safety, youth development, clean and attractive neighborhoods, job strong economy, and then thriving arts and culture, which always stands out to people in my age group, because a lot of us are creatives and doing our own thing, entrepreneurs. So do you want to touch on some of those?
Yeah, I'll touch on all of them really quickly. I mean, public safety, that's top of mind for everybody. I tell people that we're going to have to hold people accountable. That means we're going to have to take some folks to jail that are doing the wrong things in our community, and we got to focus on intervention and prevention. We shouldn't wait on people to do so much wrong that we have to hold them accountable. We should be intervening now. Cleaning up our neighborhoods, I mean, that's something that I see all across this community, the way people are living, the conditions that they're living in, the blight, the trash. We just have to clean up. Jobs, everybody needs jobs, investing in our youth, trying to find ways to engage them. We can't expect them to, fill the time without doing mischievous things. Like these folks 15, of course they're gonna go break some car windows because it's fun, it's something to do. We gotta give them some alternatives. And then last, arts and culture, like you said, it is the calling card for Memphis. It's the thing that makes us special. We have so many creatives, and that should be our brand. That should be the thing that we push. We talk about bringing jobs to our city. Well, young people like you and younger, they're just looking for places that are cool. And if we invest in that cool, we invest in that authenticity, that will be the future of Memphis.
I love that. Y'all feel motivated? Yeah, I feel motivated already. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a few short questions, and then I have some more in-depth ones. But you pretty much touched on why you wanted to run for office. But have you ever thought about leaving Memphis?
I left for about 10 months. When I was just graduating grad school, I moved to New York and I worked for a nonprofit that does community development across the country. But I was homesick, and I also wanted to come and get back to the love of my life, who is now my wife. And so I came back, and I don't regret it one bit. What it taught me was that the grass isn't always greener. Like, New York is a great, amazing city, but so is Memphis. And you don't really realize it when you're here, because you're like, I don't have anything to do, but it's comfortable. The people are nicer. We're cooler. The vibe is better. And so I definitely didn't regret coming back.
You obviously have a lot of experience within government work and official work. So what's one of your projects that you are most proud of?
And the one that I always tell people about is historic Melrose, because it was one that I got to work on from beginning to end. And you heard me talk about it the night you came to the event, where you have this building, the old Melrose High School, in the heart of Orange Mound, one of the most historic black communities in this country, and it has sat vacant since 1979, literally the year that I was born. And I had an opportunity to go in the community, work with the neighborhood, try to identify what they wanted to see in the space. Now that building is under construction to turn into a library with a genealogy center that's focused on African American genealogy in the heart of one of the most historic black communities in this nation. To me, that's a testament to who we are as a city, and I was proud to have a pivotal role into making that happen.
Yeah, I love that story. I love Orange Mound too.
I do too.
I love people from the Mound. It's just like a Memphis thing. I think some of the coolest.
The Mound is a whole vibe.
Yeah, some of the coolest people I done met are from the Mound.
They are.
All right, random, but if somebody was to come from out of town and visit Memphis, where is somewhere you would recommend for them to go, food-wise?
Food. Man, there's so many amazing places. Alcinia's is one downtown. Have you been to Alcinia's?
No.
Oh, you gotta check it out. So it's just north on Main Street from the convention center.
Okay.
And when you go in there, Miss BJ, she'll give you a hug. She'll treat you like it's your grandmama, and she makes you feel so at home. And it's good soul food cooking. But that's one of those spots where it's a Memphis energy.
Yeah, I love that. Who has the best wings in Memphis?
Ooh, best wings. I like the smoked wings from One and Only. Those are really good. But if you're talking about hot wings, man, I mean, I don't know. They're all good. I like all of them. Crumpies. I do old school crumpies. Yeah.
Crumpies. Yeah. When we first moved to Memphis, my parents stayed on crumpies. Like, that's like a Memphis staple for sure.
That's a
and
staple.
cheese too. I heard you saying cheese, Renee. But one of those. All right, so I'm gonna get into some more in-depth questions. So, like we talked about, the youth not really having much to do, so they're going out doing what they're doing. All right, in the 901, crime among our youth is like a significant problem. How do you see yourself combating that, and how do you think we should prevent crime with our young people?
Yeah, I think for the young people, we just have to be more thoughtful about how we are engaging them. When young people are showing us indications of heading down the wrong path, we should be proactive in stopping the slide and stopping the descent into negative activity. So all of these systems that we have, Memphis and Shelby County Schools, you have juvenile court, you have Memphis Police Department, all these systems that have data that know which young people are headed down the wrong road, yet we just wait until they mess up bad enough for us to throw the book at them. That's what we're waiting on. Instead of us investing dollars now and saying, hey, little Tommy, you've been doing the wrong thing. There's this program right in your zip code where these men are working with young men to mentor them, to engage them, to employ them. And there are programs that are happening like that all across our city, but we're not engaging our young people in it.
And that would be, in a sense, a way to rehabilitate what they are doing,
Absolutely,
correct?
absolutely. Right. It's about changing the path. And I'm born and raised in Memphis. I grew up with a lot of folks. Some of them hard-headed and wouldn't listen. And there's going to be some that won't listen. But many of them will if they just know that there's another option out there for them.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about this because I think this kind of goes hand in hand, like gun laws here in Tennessee. Like we know, like I feel like our biggest worry right now in Memphis is your car being stolen or somebody breaking into your car.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all human, so when it comes to the gun laws, I feel like people are gonna retaliate. Do you feel like that's gonna result in deaths or like these young people being harmed because people are gonna want to protect their property, right?
Well, I recently had some conversations with some officers, and they informed me that in Tennessee, you do not have a right to shoot someone over your property.
Correct.
So I would advise everyone to not pull out a gun and shoot somebody, as mad as it may make you that somebody's stealing your things. But I think the gun culture in our state and in the South in general, it is partly to blame for what we're seeing. And we have to get some common sense gun laws in our community, in our state. I understand if you're in a rural area and you want to be able to carry guns all over the place, cool, do that. But in an urban environment like Memphis, I firmly believe that we should be working with the state to change the laws such that there are more restrictions, that you got to at least go get a license, go get a permit. We have to have a permit to drive. Yet you can walk around with a weapon that can cause mass casualties without one. It doesn't make sense.
Well, what do you believe? Okay, let's go ahead and touch on the situation last night at the Lil Baby concert.
Yeah.
Like, who do we look at when things like that happen? Because the Forum is where the Grizzlies play, where we do have events for youth to go to, and somebody is able to access that place with a gun. Who do we look to for that?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read about the situation, and obviously it's early, it was somebody that got it in because they knew somebody, or came and targeted whoever they were going after. Right. And unfortunately, those are the types of incidents that can happen anywhere. We have to make sure that spaces are safe, and so I'm sure the Forum and other facilities will be looking at their practices to ensure that it's not possible for anybody to get weapons in. But the world that we live in, those things are possibilities. It's not about Lil Baby, it's about this world. Right. And so we have to continue to be vigilant and be wise, knowing that we can't stop all crime. We got to be realistic. It's not realistic to think all crime is going to go away because we got a new mayor, but we have to make sure that we're putting the right safeguards in place. And I deeply believe the FedEx Forum will continue to be a safe space.
Yeah, because that's like the first time I've ever heard about something like, inside the Forum like that happening. It's very rare that things like that do happen at the Forum. But to follow up with police reform, I've been hearing a lot of other candidates, speak on possibly replacing the police chief. Yeah. So if you do become mayor, what's your position on police reform?
Yeah, on police reform. So on the chief, I don't promise hires or fires. Okay. So I don't get into that. I want to be able to lead when I get the job, as opposed to making promises before I get there. But in terms of what I'm looking for in the chief, I want somebody that wants to be transparent. You talked about police reform, and I think the number one thing that the citizens are looking for right now is someone they can trust. Somebody that's going to be transparent, that's going to have real conversations. We also want the chief to be able to get the trust and respect of the officers that work with them. Because if you don't have that, you have nothing. With regard to police reform as a whole, it's all about that trust and faith that I talked about, and we have to take the actions that make sure that those people that are not respectful of the people of our city, of the people of our community, are no longer on the force. We've got to have options for people to be able to file complaints, file grievances, and obviously we're going to make sure that it's all valid and true. But if we get 5 or 6 of the same types of complaints, this might not be what you need to do, because you're making the job harder for the ones that are trying to do the right thing.
And there are a lot of them that do want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Then when I was at your meet and greet, you touched on Blue Oval, and one thing I always say on my podcast, and politics is not my strong suit. Anytime I want to know something, I'm calling one of my political friends. But Blue Oval, can you like clarify what that is,
What
or
is
what
it?
it? Yeah, what are we to expect from that?
So Blue Oval City, that's what they call it, Blue Oval City. It's where the Ford manufacturing plant is going to be. And when Ford was looking around this country to figure out where they would go, it's a $5.6 billion investment. They knew that they would create 6,000 jobs wherever they went. So this is a competition nationally. They could have literally gone anywhere. And they picked our region. And they picked it because they saw promise. They saw opportunity for growth. And so the question is, about 50 miles from downtown Memphis in Brownsville, I think exit 42 or so. The question is, how do we ensure that our people from Memphis can take advantage of those jobs?
Right.
Because they can't hire 6,000 employees from Brownsville and Hayward County alone.
Right.
It's just not possible. They need Memphis, and Memphians need those jobs. These are high-paying jobs that's going to pay a good living wage. We want to make sure that we get the right transportation to get people there, that we provide opportunities for housing, and we would love for people to choose Memphis. I know there'll be some people that'll move into eastern Shelby County and Fayette County, but we want some of those folks to choose Memphis as their home as well. So we're going to be ready for them.
Speaking on investments and putting money into the city, you touched on how in the next 2 years, 50 million, right, would be coming to the city of Memphis.
Right.
What's the plans for that money? We would like to know. I would like to know.
Yeah. So what I talked about was the fact that in 2 years, the city of Memphis will have paid off so much debt that our debt payment will drop by $50 million. Just like you paid off your $50 million house note. You no longer have it. So now you have all that opportunity. In terms of what the plan is to use it, my plan is to invest in our young people. So those programs that I was talking about, invest in our infrastructure. I know we've had a lot of conversations about what we're going to do to update, MLGW systems and transportation, making sure that we have a more efficient transportation system to get people to and from, and streets, potholes, all the whole nine.
Right.
There are 50 million sounds like a lot, but it'll be gone very quickly.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that it's not a one-time amount. This is every year moving forward, and so we want to be creative and thoughtful about how we leverage it.
I think this is kind of personal for me, or something that I've been realizing here in Memphis. At this age, like, we're in the space of looking to buy a home on the market, or move into nicer places. What is your opinions on people coming from the East Coast to West Coast, the hedge funds coming and buying up our properties, and the price of rent is almost, it's so difficult. And for me, it's like you have to either be not making no money so you can go and live somewhere in a nice apartment that's income based, or you have to have a lot of money so that you can take care of yourself. If you fall in between, it's kind of really difficult.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that?
We missed a moment over the past couple of years right before the interest rates went up. Like right now they're pretty high, but before that, interest rates were relatively low, and we had people that were looking to sell, and we had people that wanted to buy homes, but they were competing with these investors that were from out of town that would tell the seller that I'll give you $10,000 more than the asking price, and I'll close in 10 days. And so when you're competing with that, and somebody else is telling you, well, I got to sell my other house, I got to go through the bank like most normal people, it's pretty easy to see where the seller would go. And so we missed that opportunity. What other communities have done is they put restrictions on how quickly the investor property can close, to at least say, well, you're going to have to close in 45 days just to put you on par with a regular person, so that the seller has a little bit more of a reason to say, I'm going to go with somebody who's going to raise a family in this home. So I think those are some measures that we can explore from that perspective, but we also have to find supports for the families that need it, for those middle income families that simply need just a little bit of a bump. We should be thinking about are there our own voucher programs? Vouchers meaning that we can pay a portion of your rent. Can we convince employers to start their own voucher programs? Because I always tell people that affordability is relative. It's relative to what you can afford. And if we can increase people's income, then they can afford more. And so if the jobs aren't going to pay more, then maybe we can convince them to pay in a different way. Pay in the form of a housing subsidy that's going to allow people to have quality spaces to raise their families.
Now you're talking, Mr. Paul. I like that. I like that.
I'm a housing guy too, so I mean that's my background.
For sure.
Housing, so.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of wrap it up here, but can you finish off by telling me why do you feel like people should vote for you?
I firmly believe that I'm the right person at the right time for our city. I always liken it to that J. Cole song, Middle Child, where he says, I'm big bro and little bro all at once, all at the same time. Like, I've been poured into by the older generation and still feel connected. I'm still connected to the younger generation, my younger sisters and brothers. I feel like I represent what Memphis needs at this moment, because Memphis is going to change. It's changing right before our eyes. And the question is, are we going to direct the change, or is the change just going to happen to us? Are we going to try and go back in the day and elect somebody that did something for us 30 years ago? Or are we going to go with the next generation of leadership, somebody that's going to push us into our next chapter of being?
Yeah.
We got to write the next pages of this book for our city. And I'm ready right now. And I feel like I exude the energy of Memphis, because it's just who I am. And it's resonating with people. And I'm prepared. Like, it's not like I'm just saying this because I'm relatively young. I'm not that young, but I'm relatively young in the grand scheme. I've been doing the work.
Yeah.
I've been out here. You're not going to find, I don't think there's been a mayor who has been as prepared as me walking into this job. And that's just because I've been working with neighborhoods and communities for the last 20 years.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, to me, everything is about timing.
Right.
Timing is so important, and it's just so cool to see somebody, like you said, you aren't super young, but you ain't old either, and
Right.
It's cool to see a black man, especially in this position, and I feel like I believe that he can take us in the right direction.
Appreciate it.
I'm really just motivated by that. So we're gonna kind of close here, but I want you to let us know when early voting is, because we want y'all to get out and vote early. Yeah. So important to vote and exercise that right that we have. So when is early voting?
Early voting starts September 15th, Friday, September 15th through September 30th.
And if you miss early voting, then you can vote on October 5th.
That is election day. We want everybody to early vote. We want to make sure that you get it done. With early voting, you can go to any location. You don't have to worry about where you're zoned. You can go to any location. So we're pushing as many people as possible. Go out and early vote and vote Paul Young for mayor.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you taking out the time to sit with me, and you just helped me grow right here and put me in a different lane. To me, everything
the same for me.
Yeah, everything is about growth, guys. Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. And just to shout out my sponsors, Disbelief Tequila and Gladys Wine. I have that right now, and Gladys Wine wanted me to give you a bottle.
All right.
So this is my favorite too.
All right.
It's Cuvée, and it's black owned, from a Memphis native. So if y'all haven't tried it, make sure y'all get it. I know your wife will love it.
Me and the wife will definitely take care of this.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, so you throw up your peace signs. Catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.